In today's video, we're diving into a topic that is sure to spark anger and concern among many of you since the Labour Party took power. We've witnessed significant cutbacks in various areas, and one of the most alarming stories is the reduction of the winter fuel allowance for pensioners, but there's more troubling news that we need to discuss, particularly regarding the ongoing situation with migrants in the UK. As it stands, migrants are set to remain in taxpayer-funded hotels for another 3 years due to a backlog in the asylum process. Working Britain are now shelling out a staggering £4.2 million every day to provide accommodation and meals for around 30,000 migrants housed in these hotels. It's a situation that is raising eyebrows and prompting questions about government priorities. In this video, we'll cover the details of this situation and provide you with the latest news from across the country. But before we delve deeper, please hit that like button and subscribe to our fast-growing community for more updates. The current state of affairs indicates that migrants could be staying in these taxpayer-funded hotels for as long as 3 more years. This is primarily due to an unresolved asylum backlog. Despite Labour's promises to restore order to the immigration system, currently about 30,000 migrants are being accommodated in 250 hotels across Britain, costing taxpayers an eye-watering £4.2 million daily. In addition to the hotel costs, there's also an expenditure of around £61,778 for dispersal accommodation, which includes smaller private accommodations and former university student halls. This is a far cry from Labour's own manifesto, which vowed to end the use of asylum hotels. Home Secretary It Cooper and other ministers have come to the realization that tackling the backlog will take much longer than they initially anticipated. Reports from the Times reveal that Home Office officials had originally expected to close the last hotel within a year. However, an unnamed source has raised concerns that it might take 3 times longer than expected. The situation is indeed much worse than anticipated, and it certainly won't be resolved within a year. During the recent general election campaigning, Keir Starmer stated that if the current government continued in power, we could expect to see around 100,000 asylum seekers in the UK, none of whom would be processed efficiently. Currently, the backlog stands at approximately 87,000, with over 21,000 claims awaiting initial decisions that could take anywhere from 12 to 18 months. Additionally, there are about 137,000 migrants waiting for the outcome of appeals or for removal from the country. This backlog has been exacerbated by a noticeable decline in productivity since Rishi Sunak called for a general election. The number of decisions made by caseworkers at the Home Office plummeted from 14,140 in April to just 2,990 in June, despite the number of staff remaining unchanged. Each of the department's 2,500 caseworkers workers was managing to process an average of only 2 asylum cases per month in June, down from 7 in April. However, Home Office sources claim that productivity has since improved, stating that around 11,000 claims were processed in the last month. The Labour source commented, claiming they have inherited a failed immigration system from the Conservatives, which included spending over $700 million on Rwanda, a plan that clear didn't work. They are now focused on clearing the backlog left behind by years of inaction from the previous government. This situation is nothing short of disgraceful and understandably angers many people. What are your thoughts on this matter? Feel free to share in the comments below. In other news, Home Secretary James Cleverly has stated that the government has lost control of immigration due to poor decisions made by ministers. In a recent interview, he emphasized that figures related to asylum seekers and arrivals are reported quarterly, and if Labour claims they were unaware of these figures, they are lying. These figures have always been in the public domain, and the escalating pressure is a direct result of their decisions to dismantle some of the successful measures that were previously in place to combat people smuggling. Since Labour took office, 11,000 individuals have arrived illegally on small boats, representing a significant increase. Tragically, people are losing their lives in the Channel, and the government appears to have lost control of the situation. Cleverly remarked that while they had a plan to win the election, they lacked a plan to govern effectively. In a related vein, Rachel Reeves is attempting to mislead the British public regarding the tax rises she is poised to announce in the upcoming budget. These decisions are contributing to the crisis in the Channel, and it's clear that Labour's approach is costing lives. When asked about the Conservatives' Stop the Boats slogan, cleverly acknowledged that stopping the boats was indeed a priority. However, he expressed frustration that the focus on that slogan overshadowed the significant work being done in collaboration with French authorities to halt many attempted crossings. He highlighted that efforts to interrupt the supply of illegal outboard motors and financing for people smugglers were making it more challenging for these criminals to operate. However, due to the overemphasis on that slogan, the public was not adequately informed about the effective measures being implemented. Cleverly's aspiration to stop the boats remains strong, but he believes that relying solely on that slogan obscured the positive outcomes achieved by the government. In other news, a former firefighter has been sentenced to 7 years in prison after being found guilty of paying children to send him explicit images online. Robert Stevenson used social media to contact women, offering money in exchange for naked pictures, with many of the victims being young girls. He engaged in direct messages on platforms like Instagram before moving the conversation to Snapchat, where he misled one girl into believing he was also 17. After his arrest, devices belonging to Stevenson were seized, revealing he had communicated with numerous girls and had made payments for explicit images. Following a trial at Derby Crown Court, Stevenson was found guilty of multiple charges, including causing the sexual exploitation of children aged 13 to 17 and making indecent photographs of minors. He has also been placed on the sex offenders register and handed a sexual harm prevention order. Detective Sergeant Sophie Dracott, who supervised the child's sexual exploitation investigation, expressed relief that Stevenson has been brought to justice for his appalling behavior that spanned across the country. She also urged parents to be vigilant about their children's online interactions and to ensure they understand the importance of reporting any inappropriate messages. As we wrap up today's discussion, I'd love to hear your thoughts on these pressing issues. Please let us know in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content about what's happening in the UK. Thank you for tuning in, and take care.